Alright guys, welcome back. So today we're going to talk about FTX because recently news has came out that FTX is actually insolvent and DirtyBubbleMedia actually went ahead and did a lot of digging. I'm going to leave the link to his article below because it's a really good read. Highly suggest you read it because it opened my eyes to a lot of things. But I don't know, 5 days before this article even came out, I already pulled my money out of FTX because I just didn't feel safe with them. So all the limit orders I had with my Bitcoin and Ethereum on FTX just canceled all those orders, pulled out all my money. I had like 30K in there, just pulled it all out because it's a bear market. Things are shifty, things are shady. There's a lot of bankruptcies and I don't want my money at anywhere that has any sort of potential risk. So take that as a piece of advice if you so choose to heed that advice. Other than that, guys, please be sure to smash that like button, smash that subscribe button because we need to push this video out to anyone who uses FTX. And I know there's a lot of YouTubers out there that promotes FTX right now, starting to putting money in there when I feel like they don't even know the dangers that they're putting their audiences in. So we need to share this video out to more people who need to see it because right now it's better to be safe than sorry with the experiences that most of us have already had with Celsius and Voyager. We don't want to repeat with that with FTX. So let's go ahead and smash that like and subscribe button and then let's jump on in. So CoinDesk reported that they had obtained a copy of Alameda Research's Q2 balance sheet. According to that report, the company's balance sheet is comprised of total assets worth $14.6 billion. Now, this is comprised of about 5.8 billion FTT tokens, 1.2 billion Solana tokens, 3.37 billion in unidentified crypto held, $2 billion in investment in equity securities, and that leaves roughly $2.2 billion in assets. Other than that, we have hundreds of millions of dollars on remaining assets comprised of Alameda's holdings of the Serum project, SRM, Oxygen, Oxy, MAPS, and FIDA tokens, all of which are other Sam Bankman-Fried projects. And according to this balance sheet, Alameda only has $134 million in cash on hand in June 2022. With that said, we also have to talk about total liabilities, which is $8 billion, of which $7.4 billion is in loans with another $292 million worth of FTT token owed. The remainder is unidentified. So that leak identified that Alameda's largest asset is its holdings of FTX Token, FTT, and that is issued by Sam's other business, the FTX exchange. This FTT token on Alameda's balance sheet is roughly 1/3 of their total assets. So why is this scary? So it's scary because Alameda's largest asset is this FTT token that is issued by FTX, Sam's other business. And the other significant portion of their assets are issued by other companies, other crypto companies like Solana, for example. Those are all assets that fluctuate in value incredibly because they're crypto, they're volatile. What happened if they all of a sudden fail? And it can happen because that's what we saw with Terra Luna. I wanted to read this to you guys. It's almost as if SBF found a way to hack the financial system, printing billions of dollars out of thin air against which he was able to borrow massive sums from unknown counterparties. It's almost as if he discovered a financial perpetual motion machine. A flywheel perhaps, which is exactly what Celsius did. How the flywheel works is actually pretty simple. Step 1, you create a token and you make sure that you retain the majority of those tokens on your balance sheet. Step 2 is you pump the token's price. So you are the market maker. You buy your tokens using your customers' assets. You do whatever it takes to drive that price to infinity. And since you kept most of the tokens for yourself, there's less chance that any other whale will come in and dump on you. Then you mark those babies to the market. That means you get to reap your rewards now. You can show to investors that you have billions of dollars in assets on your balance sheet. And that is where number 4 comes in. You show off your success, right? So go and market, look for investment from, I don't know, like pension funds and hook them into you. Hook them into massively overpaying for your company or into giving you big loans for your very valuable business. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to keep the same cycle going. Now you have real dollars from the investors. You can buy yourself whatever you want. But the problem is if this scheme stops spinning, then you're going to have a very bad time. So the problem with this scheme is you have to keep the price high, right? right, to attract investors. But to do that, when you keep the price high, there's going to be other investors that are going to take profit, right? They're going to sell out at the top. They're incentivized to do that, which forces you to keep on pumping that price higher and higher. You need more money, you need more investors, and you have to keep buying more tokens at higher prices. Eventually, what will happen is you're going to run out of money, own all the tokens in existence, or you stop buying. None of those can happen, because once you stop, it all comes crashing down like you're a meth head or something that just can't get his next hit because you have no more money. And the problem with this scheme is if you hold such a massive amount of illiquid assets that nobody else wants, it's just paper money. It's just money on paper. Like Celsius and the Cell token, despite having so much Cell token, they can't liquidate it because there's no one wanting to buy it. So they can't liquidate without selling it to the price of 0. And this same thing is going to happen to FTX and the FTT token. Another big problem that DirtyBubbleMedia discovered is that the blockchain confirms that FTT ownership is highly concentrated. That means that 93% of the total tokens are held by only 10 addresses. And when this happens, guys, that is dangerous because it's so concentrated. It's decentralized system. It can't be like this. They also found that there are only 180 to 200 addresses that are actively transacting in FTT tokens. I don't know, maybe some people doing some shady things. So there is very small number of individuals holding FTT, as well as very low overall demand for the token. It's very illiquid. And one last thing I want to highlight is this flow chart of FTT token flows through FTX exchange over 30 days. This is worrisome because a lot of these addresses, well, FTT tokens are going to those addresses, but the main Goliath amount of them are going through these two routes, which shows that there's really no demand. So if you're gonna get anything from this video, get this. The main point of this video is that for Alameda, a lot of the money, a lot of their assets is shown in that FTT token. But the problem is that they're the major holders of that FTT tokens. And if ever they need to liquidate, they can't find buyers or anyone willing to buy those FTT tokens, which makes it so that if they ever need to sell, then the price of that FTT token will drop to 0 immediately. That is extremely dangerous. So basically, if we consider it 0, Alameda is basically insolvent. All right, guys, so I want to highlight this article that is from April 25. Sam Bankman-Fried described yield farming and left Matt Levine stunned. And after you read this article and listen to the podcast, you will be stunned. And I'm not going to walk you through this entire article. Now, I have some highlights here. I'm not going to show you these highlights and read them to you. I'm actually going to animate this so you understand it, because there was a lot of filler words that Sam Bankman-Fried used that made things kind of hard to understand. And when people do that, that is when you should get wary. So let's jump in on actually what he really talked about. All right, so in the example that SBF uses, we have a box, and anyone who puts money in this box is going to get an X token. So SBF never mentioned that it has any actual use, just that it maybe has use. So anyone who invests in this box will get an airdrop of that X token based on the amount he's invested and the total supply of those tokens. So basically, they're getting their pro rata share of that token. So here's the important part. SBF uses the optimistic example that this X token that is airdropped will have some market cap or value. The whole point is that it is not completely useless. And he uses a big number, which in the entire space of the crypto industry is actually a small number, but 20 million is the number he uses that might be the market cap of this X token. So the interviewer came back and argued that in first principles, the token is actually worthless, and in my point of view, it is. Sam Bankman-Fried's empirical claim is that it would have a market cap. So how I think about this, how I think he's thinking about this, is that he sees it as kind of as an IPO, where there is going to be a floor to buy in, right? But with IPOs, those are companies that have already been battle tested and they have income coming in, most likely. They're companies that have their foundations. But the situation here is that this box that he's talking about is completely abstract, and it was just something pulled out of his BI. Now, guys, this is a YouTube family-friendly channel, so I'm not going to say ASS, but that's what it is. So how do we go about increasing the value of token X? So these token X are being airdropped, and he's taking advantage of the fact that sophisticated investment firms don't know much about crypto. But these sophisticated investment firms have money that is not theirs to blow. So dangle an X token in front of them that has 100 million invested in it. So these investors are going to be like, there's already 100 million in there, so that's quite a bit of money. So maybe it's worth something taking a look at. and also dangle in front of these investors that airdrop staking rewards are 16%. So that's kind of like interest. That will yield 16 million per year. And those are the numbers that these sophisticated investing firms are looking at. So that's what he said in the interview. It all sounds crazy to me because he's pulling these numbers from nowhere. And at best, these are maybes, not for sures. So he goes on further to say that, sophisticated traders or people on crypto Twitter or other similar parties go and put 200 million in the box collectively and they start getting these token X's for it. In other words, what he's trying to say is the more attention it gets, the higher the value will go. And the people who knows how to take profit, well, they're the real winners. But when I read this was a literal Ponzi, even before Matt mentioned it. In other words, what this is it is basically every other fiat monetary system that already exists in the world. And Sam Bankman-Fried also talked about the cynical case, that this box is worth literally nothing. It is zero, it is nilch, it is nada. But he also says that if people thinks that there is value in it, they will continue pumping it. Then what you can do is you could take these X tokens that has fiat value to them, and you can go and use it in a borrow and lending protocol, let's say Aave, and actually borrow real dollars. And you will never have to return your real dollars because they can just keep this X token, which is worthless. And basically, you just ran away with the money and you left Aave rugged, or whatever protocol is the lending protocol you used. Aside from that, there are several weird things that also happened in the past recent months with Alameda and FTX, both of which are firms that were started by Sam Bankman-Fried. The first of all, Alameda had Sam Trabucco, which was one of the co-CEOs, step down as co-CEO. So that was something that I found a little bit weird. And over on FTX side, we also have Brett Harrison, who was the president CEO, right? He also stepped down from that position. So why is it that both of these people who are CEOs are stepping down? So that kind of got my brain firing. There is something really, really weird going on here that is not said or not up to surface yet. So really, guys, you have to really be careful. I, for one, have already pulled out my money from FTX. So if you haven't done that, I would suggest doing that. And if you guys are wondering where I put my crypto, well, I put them in my ledger, which is secured with my Apricorn. This you can get in the pinned comment below. It is cold storage, and don't connect this with MetaMask or anything, right? Just leave it as cold storage. Just put your crypto there and keep it off from the internet. This is a USB, and I keep my secret phrases in this USB because it has a pin pad in it. Only you know the pin because you set the pin, and you only need the pin in order to get to the files inside, which only you should know. So that is my security keys, and you can also get this in the pinned comment below. Otherwise, if you guys do not know how to use a ledger, I made a video for you right here, so you really have no excuse not to learn how to use a ledger. If you're in crypto, you have to learn how to use a ledger. Alright guys, that's all I have to share for today. If you've enjoyed this video, please be sure to comment down below for the YouTube algorithm and share this video to someone who really needs to see it, because more people needs to know about this. Other than that, please be sure to smash the like button and subscribe button. Check out our other videos on cryptocurrencies and passive income. And don't forget, guys, you gotta keep working, keep building, keep inspiring. I'll see you next time.